there is a game afoot. Hey y'all, it's me, Sasha Raquel, back with a brand new film review, this time for Knives Out Glass Onion, the sequel to Rian Johnson's 2019 Whodunit that swept everyone off their feet. The film was an absolute fan favorite, in fact, one of my favorite of the last several years still to this day. But how does the sequel hold up, especially now that the series is kind of the darling of Netflix's weekly movie releases, specifically for this year? Of course, Glass Onion follows Benoit Blanc, our favorite Kentucky detective, played by the wonderful Daniel Craig. He is as funny and as wonderful as ever in this film, and really I do think you get to see the full extent of his comedic chops as an actor, which are so much more extensive than I think we ever would have guessed in the years that have of him playing Bond. And I'm so glad that we have this character. We are exploring where Benoit has been since the first Knives Out, what he's sort of been up to. And I will say that this film, the way that it starts and when it starts, the time period, was a little surprising to me. I don't want to give too much away, but it's definitely something that I don't think I saw coming, and I don't know if that's from ignorance or the fact that it's just not included in the trailers. But I really enjoyed the way that it was handled, although I will say the thing that really makes or breaks this movie, I think it works specifically now, is the extremely relevant cultural references and anecdotes that are happening. This movie in 2022 is such a funny movie to watch. The things that are referenced, it feels like it was written yesterday. It's so on top of the cultural zeitgeist at the moment, yet I do feel like this is ultimately going to be the crutch of this film. The first Knives Out has such a timeless quality to it. It's such a quality mystery, and although we obviously know that it takes place in the time of phones because those are heavily featured in the film, other than a few political referencings, there's not much else to make it feel like it took place in this particular year. Yet in this film, it is much more based around the comedic role that a lot of these cultural references have to play and kind of the types of personalities that we are used to seeing in 2022. And so I believe that those things may come to age the film. Who knows? It may end up being a very beautiful time capsule. If you watch the film, I think the humor is really funny now. They do it well. They don't make it feel cringy or awkward, and it's not like any of the like teenagers you see on TV trying to use Gen Z type humor in a really awkward, weird way on screen. Like, it definitely translates and works well with the characters that have been written for this film. I just wonder, in 3 years, am I going to choose to watch this film or the original? It's kind of inescapable that this movie is not going to be compared to its predecessor, although you really don't have to watch the first film at all to see this film. You know, the first Knives Out grew on us over multiple rewatches and over a period of now 3 years. But the first Knives Out, I do think, is superior in acting quality and the fact that it is more strictly and purely a drama. Obviously, what was so captivating about the first Knives Out is that not only is it this murder mystery, but it did have those moments of levity and humor and just really true, heartfelt moments. And while I do think that Glass Onion has those moments, it is much more centered around being a comedy. It's got some commentary, which I think was absolutely lovely and very important and also very nuanced, yet it's a comedy first. And I think you feel that in this film, not in a bad way. If I'm gonna make a prediction now in 3 years' time, which one of these movies I'm gonna prefer and look back on, I think it's gonna be the first one. So for anyone wondering if this is the sequel that's better than the original, I personally don't feel that that's the case. I think a lot of aspects of the first film are really amplified here, yet I just overall prefer the mystery, the characters, the overall tone of the first film. I also think, and this is a very side note type situation, this film, for being released in the end of November and will not hit streaming until December 23rd, it's very much a summery movie, and I think that is very off-putting. When I went to the theater, and obviously I knew that it was going to have a more summery vibe because the trailer showed Greece and tropical island and just summery clothing on these characters, very bright colors. It was just very interesting to me because I'm ready for like the original Knives Out tone and weather and vibes. not this summer thing. So I guess that's just my note to Netflix. Hey guys, if you're listening, I totally know that you are. Maybe this would have been better in summer. I don't know. I know you want it for award season, but just a thought. Beyond that, though, I think that the most interesting aspect of this movie is the cast of characters that we do have. This cast is absolutely stacked. Not that the first films was not, but here there's a lot more immediate recognizability. And like I said, a lot of the characters are played by actors who are extremely relevant. I'm going to be completely honest and fess something up here. As someone who's never watched Outer Banks, I did not know who Madeline Klein was. And that, like, 3 people told me that they were so excited for this movie because Madeline Klein was in it. And I was like, who is that? I was like, I know Kate Hudson is in this movie. I know that Dave Bautista is in this movie. I kind of forgot that Sam Rockwell was going to be a part of it. And I knew that Catherine Hahn and Leslie Odom Jr. were part of it, but I did not know who Madeline Klein was. All of them were fantastic. All of them, I think, again, this film being a comedy really suits their acting styles. All of their personalities are really centered around greed and poking fun at the different personality types that we see in our modern day era. How they've gained success, where they've come from, what their belief systems are, how the world views them in a very public sphere, because I think a lot of the characters that we're dealing with in this film are much more public and external facing from the film than in the first movie. It's much more a family affair, whereas here these are all kind of individuals who are known for something, and the global perception of what that is very much embedded into who they are. What I loved was, just like the first film, this takes a look at kind of everyone that might be in this space, all of the kind of personality types and different idiosyncrasies that they all might maintain. And what I love the most is that even though they're very diverse and different in their thought processes and the way that they handle things, even kind of why they're there in the first place or what they do for a living, the film's theme of a glass onion, which is something that appears layered from the outside, but all along exactly what it is, the true center has been visible the entire time because it's made of glass. That is very much how these characters are. We're presented with characters, and again, not to spoil anything, I think this is just, you know, something that the film kind of sets up and leaves you to think about as an audience, which I loved, is that these characters were almost searching the entire film to find out more and more about them, get different pieces of information, put it together in different ways, and look at what might be going on. But by the end of the film, what we've gotten to is that although we can learn all these nuances about these people, the main important things about them, the things that drive them, and the reason specifically that they are here in this setting involved in the film's events, is very surface level, and it is right there. It's been there right in front of you the whole time. I think that just is such a brilliant thought process. Of course, Rian Johnson, with his clever writing in the first Knives Out, which is continued here, really delivers on that glass onion nature of it. I thought this movie was excellent. I definitely highly recommend you go give it a watch. Be sure to like this video and hit subscribe so you don't miss any future film reviews as well as television, media, and entertainment content on this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have an absolutely amazing day, and I'll see you in my very next video. Bye, y'all.